Hey, good morning. Kicking off week 44. Last day of October with John chapter 11. The predominant part of John 11 is the story of the death of Lazarus and his raising from the dead. And just some noteworthy things is, in verse 5 and 6, Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus, and we heard Lazarus was ill. He stayed 2 days longer. Certainly an interesting response by Jesus. And, the thought is Jesus did this to make sure the common thought, was 3 days is how long somebody had to be dead to really for sure think they were dead. So, Jesus delays his time in coming, and Martha meets Jesus, says, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. And then Jesus says his fifth I am statement in the book, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, though he die, yet shall he live. And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this? And Martha has a great testimony response. Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, who is coming into the world. So the question for each one of us is, if Jesus said to you, do you believe this, that I am the resurrection and life? Whoever believes in me, though he die, yet shall he live. And everyone who lives and believes in me shall never die. And Jesus says, do you believe this? And can you answer by saying, yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God. So Jesus weeps, the shortest verse of the Bible in verse 35, and ends up raising Lazarus from the dead, and says how he did this, that people may believe that you sent me, that God sent him. So many Jews come to believe. We see in verse 45, and this is something we've seen throughout. Many people start to believe, but some of them, it says in verse 46, went to the Pharisees and the chief priests, and they decided it's time to arrest and kill Jesus. It's interesting, verse 48, if we let him go on like this, everyone will believe in him, and the Romans will come and take away both our place and our nation. So we see the reasoning behind the crucifixion. And if you think about John being written many, many years after the fact, and certainly laying the groundwork why they were trying to kill Jesus. And we see exactly why in verse 48. So, a pretty interesting chapter. We see the division continuing, and we see Jesus has power and victory over death, that he is the resurrection and the life. We'll get to chapter 12 tomorrow, as we're starting to move into the final week of Jesus's life. It talks about the Passover at the end of 11. It's Mark or John devotes almost half of the book to the last week of the life of Jesus. So we'll get into that this week, but let me know what you're learning as you're going through this, and your takeaways what is your answer when Jesus says, do you believe this? Can you say, I believe you are the Christ, the Son of God? God bless. See you tomorrow.